A Marathon sponsorship deal went out to creators with a list of topics that they're not allowed to mention, and one of them was Destiny 3. Now, that clause might be the agency being overcautious. It might have been quietly removed after backlash, and one creator says it wasn't even in their version, but it set the internet on fire anyway, and the reason why is the actual story. Here's exactly what happened, including the messy parts. On June 12th, a creator named Kyle Blessing posted that a friend got a Marathon brand deal through Twitch's sponsorship system, and the guidelines told the creators what to avoid, like current events, political topics, competitor comparisons, and Destiny 3. That post hit nearly 1 million views in a day. But here's the messy part. Another creator checked their own Twitch dashboard for the same deal and said the Destiny 3 line wasn't there, meaning it was either changed after the backlash or it varied creator to creator. Blessing stood by it, saying if it was edited, it happened after his post, and he himself guessed it was probably an agency being overprotective, not Sony. So I'll be honest with you up front, this is unconfirmed, possibly inconsistent, and possibly just a marketing agency overstepping, which makes the real question not is Sony evil, but something more interesting. Because here's what's strange, a clause this shaky, this unconfirmed, maybe removed, blew up to 1 million views in 24 hours. That doesn't happen to a normal sponsorship rule. It happens when a rumor confirms something that people already believe. So the question isn't whether Sony personally wrote ban Destiny 3, it's this. Like, why was this clause so instantly, overwhelmingly believable, and what does it say that nobody who saw it found hard to accept? Here's the layout. A rumor only goes viral if it fits a pattern that people have already noticed. Nobody believes a random lie. They believe the thing that snaps the last puzzle piece into place. So whether or not this exact clause came from Sony, hundreds of thousands of people looked at creators told not to mention Destiny 3 and instantly went, yeah, that track. That reaction is the data, and it lines up perfectly with 3 things that we already knew. But before any of that, let's be genuinely fair, because this is where most of the coverage has failed. Most of this is probably standard, and I'll make the strongest case for that myself. A marketing professional in the replies, someone who runs these campaigns, pointed out that when you work with a studio that owns multiple games, you keep the campaign focused on the one you're paying for. Otherwise, the engagement data gets really muddy. And that's kind of real. Like, avoid current events, avoid politics, and avoid competitor talk. Those are in basically every sponsorship contract on Earth. And naming Destiny 3 could just be an agency thinking the Destiny fanbase overlaps with marathons. Let's not let the paid stream turn into Destiny 3 debate. And naming Destiny 3 could just be an agency thinking the Destiny fanbase overlaps with marathons, so let's not let the paid stream turn into a Destiny 3 debate. That's not some sinister here, that's a nervous agency trying to keep a campaign on message. Blessing himself called it the Streisand effect. Telling people not to discuss the hottest topic just makes them want to discuss it even more. So if your whole take is this clause proves Sony is suppressing Destiny, I would pump the brakes here, because the clause alone proves no such thing. It might be the agency ban, it might be gone already, but here's what that fair reading still can't explain. So why did it land so hard? Because of the 4 items that are on that list, 3 could never go viral. Nobody's screenshots don't discuss politics during a sponsorship, but the 4th, Destiny 3, detonated because it touched the rawest nerve in the entire community. The clause might be fake, but the reaction wasn't, and the reaction wasn't confusion, it was recognition here. The instant people saw don't mention Destiny 3, hundreds of thousands of them immediately believed that Sony would want exactly that, because they've already watched Sony refuse to greenlight it, sunset Destiny 2, and pour everything into Marathon that's struggling. That rumor went viral because it was the perfect symbol for a thing the audience already had concluded. That Destiny, the franchise that they actually want, is being kept quiet to protect the game that they don't want anyways. That collective shrug of recognition, that instant yeah, of course, is the tell. And separating what a rumor proves from what the reaction to it reveals is kind of the breakdown of this channel runs on. So if that's your wavelength, click subscribe. Now let me show you the 3 things this rumor lined up with. The things that were already true before anyone posted a screenshot. So what was already true? One was the money. Sony wrote down $765 million on Bungie, and a new Destiny would be $500 million bet from a studio that they just marked down. Finance team says no. And number 2, the silence. Sony has said nothing about Destiny 3 through a 370,000 signature petition and a finale that outdrew Marathon. The behavior just says no. And 3 is the org chart. Bungie being folded into PlayStation, its independence being dismantled, its developers contracted on Marathon. The structure says no as well. And now 4 is the vibe. Sponsorship rumor that everyone instantly believed because it fit the first 3 perfectly. And yes, before someone says it, the Destiny community runs hot, and outrage by itself isn't proof. I'd agree if the outrage stood alone, but it doesn't. The reaction lines up with exactly the write down, the silence, and the org chart. And when the vibes and the numbers point in the same direction, that's not catastrophizing, that's confirmation. You don't need the clause to be a confirmed Sony directive. You need to notice that when a rumor about burying Destiny 3 surfaced, not one person who follows this found it hard to believe. So here's where it points. 1, Sony's official silence on Destiny 3 holds. There's no announcement announcement, no acknowledgement, and no showcase appearance before June of 2027. The clause, real or not, fit a policy, and the policy is containment, not development. 2. As marathon numbers stay soft, the managed messaging continues. More focus pulling towards marathon, more keeping the Destiny conversation quiet during paid pushes. Watch how the next marathon marketing wave treats Destiny. If it keeps acting like the franchise doesn't exist, you have your answer. 3 is the convergence. I told you that Sony wouldn't greenlight Destiny 3 on the write-down math. I told you that Marathon was the hostage, and this rumor is the same story surfacing a 4th way, through the marketing layer this time. 4 independent angles, finance silent in the org chart, and now the community's own instincts all pointing at the same wall. The math is pretty insane here, and so is this read. A rumor that Sony was paying people to not say Destiny 3 went viral in one day. Not because anyone proved it, but because everyone already believed it, and that's the part that Sony can't screenshot away. You can edit a clause out of a contract, but you can't edit out the fact that when people heard it, their first reaction was like, yeah, that sounds exactly right. When a community stops needing proof to believe you're burying something, you've already told them everything.